Awesome. years experience within the Northern Beaches. Combining a wide range of knowledge and understanding with a luxury with personal touch, Upstate Real Estate delivers 5-star service with the drive and passion that your property deserves. Featuring our very own Johnny Hall, Upstate has one goal for you, to help you find yourself in a better place. So give Upstate Real Estate a call on 9971 9000 or visit www.upstate.com.au. Upstate Real Estate, proud partners of your Manly United FC.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can indulge me just for a couple of minutes, we're just going to embarrass someone very quickly here, because I do have a special message to give from everyone here at Manly United to our goalkeeping coach, Willis. A very happy birthday. And ladies and gentlemen, we are still waiting for final lineups to be confirmed, mainly from Marconi at the moment. But while we wait for their team lineup to be confirmed, we can give you the lineup for your Manly United FC. Number 1, Levi K. Number 2, Karen Paul. Number 4, Jesse Perry. Number 6, Saxon Hillier. Number 9, Ben Duke. Number 11, Connor Rose. Number 12, Miguel Porza. Number 18, Presley Ortiz. Number 19, Alan Naganovich. Number 25, Rocco Bella. Number 39, Stefano Rossello. Out on the bench, number 3, Zach Safilioi. Number 7, Peter Kakaris. Number 8, Johnny Fox. Number 22, Black Bumballs. Number 31, Jay Coates. And number 45, Bilal Balkardi. That is the lineup for your Manly United FC. We're hoping to have the Marconi lineup confirmed with you shortly.
Every game I do, Marconi are late. Yeah.
Well, I make it happen. If the team's not in by
Yeah. They always do it, must be tactics. So. But their lineup doesn't change that much, at least. So. It should be, yeah, I know.
20 years of experience in a team of locals, you can feel confident with your money being handled locally by Australia's fifth largest bank, the only one able to make that grassroots connection. So meet Cassie and the team at Bendigo Bank Freshwater and find out how you can help the bank that supports you and supports your Manly United FC.
Well, regrettably, ladies and gentlemen, we are still waiting for Marconi to enter their lineups for the main game here this evening. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that Manly United will be back here next week. It's a madcap finish for the rest of the season. Make sure you're back here next Friday night, as your Manly United FC will be playing the Sutherland Sharks.
Yeah, sure.
1 2 1 2 1 2 testing 1 2. Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the weekend. A big one in the NPL. New South Wales men's kicking off at Cromer Park as Manly United host the title-chasing Marconi Stallions. We're all good with that. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Cool.
17, Miloslav Popovic. Number 18, George Daniel. Number 19, Carl Cimenti. Number 20, Yuki Catano. Number 34, Julian Long. And number 40, Patrick Williams. That is the Marconi lineup just submitted before kickoff.
The Shelby Shop delivers a huge range of shelving direct to your door, anywhere in Australia. Owned and operated by Goalless and family, it is a 100% Australian-owned company and can cater for all of your shelving needs, whether for the home or office. Search, shop and purchase a huge range of European-made shelves, shelving and accessories online at www.shelvingshop.com.au or visit the shop and showroom at Unit 7, Number 7, Jubilee Avenue, Warrington, and purchase direct. Contact Scott and his team on 997 6810.
Please welcome the two teams out on the field for NPL New South Wales men, Marconi and Goalless United FC.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the weekend. A big one in the NPL New South Wales men's, kicking off at Cromer Park as Manly United host the title-chasing Marconi Stallions. Alex Molchanoff delighted to be joining you for the start of round 25 from Sydney's Northern Beaches on the Football New South Wales YouTube page tonight. Very warm welcome to you wherever you're watching from around the world.
Accept my indulgences just for a moment if we can please have everyone upstanding for the following announcement.
Big moment to start the game today. All the Manly United players wearing black armbands in memory of goalkeeper Levi K's grandfather, John K, a big figure around the Manly Warringah Football Association, one of the biggest clubs in their amateur league in this community, Pittwater RSL, a life member of that football club. So we'll pause for just a moment before giving you the team lineups to remember him.
ladies and gentlemen.
One of the people that makes the game in this country so strong are people like John K. So our condolences to the K family. They're tuned in tonight, and sure Levi will be putting in his best performance in memory of his grandfather. Let's take you to the team news now. Manly United make 3 changes from the side that defeated the Western Sydney Wanderers out at Wanderers Football Park last weekend. They begin like this with number 1 Levi K in goal. Same back 4 for Patrick Zvansvijk after they kept a clean sheet last week. Number 2, the captain Kieran Paul at right back. Jesse Perez partnering Alan Aganovic through the centre of defence again with Rocco Pella on the left. Wholesale changes through midfield though. In come number 6 Saxon Hillier and number 39 Stefano Rossello to sit alongside number 12 Miguel Balfa in a 3-man midfield for Zvansvijk. A 3-pronged attack with number 11 Connor Rose off the left. Number 9 Ben Cooper returning to the starting side tonight off the right. And the new signing, number 18 Presley Ortiz, making his first appearance for his new club. For Marconi, it's almost as you were. Just the one change for Peter Sekenis from the team that beat St George City by 2-1. It was a hard-fought affair last weekend. They're hoping it's a bit more straightforward tonight. Number 1, James Hilton in goal again behind a back 4 of number 23, Brandon Vella. Number 2, Nathan Milgate, who was on early in the second half last weekend. He starts tonight alongside Anton Mlinaric. Number 5, James Bayliss, makes his 4th straight start after returning from a long-term injury earlier in the year. A midfield 4 again, number 6, Dom Costanzo off the left, number 7, Franco Meyer off the right, outside number 16, Liam Yuli, and number 8, Daniel Bowman, who was on the score sheet last weekend in the middle, number 10, Marko Jesic, and number 9, James Tomolkovski, have both struck 13 times during this league campaign. So, second place Marconi entering the night, trailing the league leaders by 9 points with 6 games remaining. A night where they're looking to keep pressure on them by claiming all 3 points. But Manly United have prided themselves on making this one of the toughest trips in the league over the past few years. Rockdale, Apia, Blacktown and Wollongong have all visited this season. None of them have left with 3 points. So without slipping into cliche, it is the proverbial banana skin for them tonight. And anything less than a victory will open the door for Rockdale to go just a single result from claiming the premiership with just over a month of the season remaining. They take on Sydney Olympic on Sunday night down at Jubilee Oval. Be a big occasion, and Marconi will be hoping it's not one that takes them a step closer and rather one they need to win to keep that little buffer that they've built for themselves together. It's Marconi who have started brightly here with their star man James Tomolkovski off the right. Added so much punch for them in front of goal alongside Jesic so far this season. He's had an injury-interrupted season himself, but that was a nice ball to find Costanzo. He's refound some form after a slow start to the year. It's back towards the top of the assist totals, which he has been for the last 2 or 3 seasons now. Son, of course, of the former A-League player and NSL player, Angelo. Fair to say he was rather more defensively minded than his very, very talented son. Interesting little journey for Manly United. They've gone from Saturdays to Fridays and switched those around as Meyer tries to get off the shoulder. Just made his run a touch too early. Flirted with starting some games on Saturday night, but this was the little equation that they put together that put themselves in the premiership picture a couple of seasons ago. They've not quite been able to reach those heady heights since the departure of Adam Griffiths, but Patrick Zvansvijk has guided them for the 2nd straight season. A fairly comfortable distance from safety after 2 slow starts. A little patch of form early in the year, and they've been going about getting some better results, but they did lose last time out here to Hills United. That was a disappointing performance from them. considering where Hills are sitting on the table. An old bogey team, Sutherland, visiting next weekend, so it doesn't get any more straightforward for them, but they've generally played up to the level of their opposition so far this season. As I mentioned in the pre-game, none of the top 6 so far have taken a win from Cromer Park yet this season. There's a couple of wins amongst them as well. There were early season draws with Rockdale and Blacktown City, but wins over Apia, Leichhardt and Wollongong Wolves here. Finding the back of the net will be the challenge tonight for the hosts, the lowest scoring team in the competition against its best defence in Marconi. First touch for Presley Ortiz, the signing from St George City in the registration window. Comes to the club with big raps, the 21-year-old. 5 goals in his 19 appearances this season, but it was his form last year that really brought him into the spotlight. Got into double figures that year. He could do that again with a clever run home in his new colours. Connor Rose was on the score sheet last weekend, getting that decisive goal in the scrappy victory over the Western Sydney Wanderers, although they'll say, Manly United, that they probably could have had 2 or 3 more had their finishing been more on target on that afternoon. Lovely skill from Franco Meyer, a former St George City player himself, of course. Played with Ortiz last season there. That's a gorgeous ball from Costanzo, and Temulkovsky is the second Marconi caught offside in the opening few minutes here. Plan clear for Sekenis' side, as it always is. They're one of the most direct teams in the competition. They do it very effectively. And they just look to match them with the physicality and pacing behind of their new striker. Little moment between Tom Costanzo and James Hilton. Hilton was not particularly happy with the service he got back from one of the most talented players in the competition. Sam Kelly, our centre referee today. One of the most promising young officials in the country. He's already part of the A-Leagues panel. Seen a 4th official role for a lot of big games over that season. Refereed the Waratah Cup final a season ago. Marko Jesic looking for the run of Temulkovsky. Not quite on the same page yet, but they've gone about figuring that out over the course of the 90 minutes. Aganovic has got to be very careful that he doesn't turn that one over in a dangerous area. Franco Meyer will give the Manly United defence headaches all night. His energy and pressing is as worrisome as his talent on the football. The Uruguayan-born winger actually spent a little bit of time over in the native country of his parents, playing in the 2nd division over there. Happy to have Nathan Milgate back in the centre of Marconi's defence. He won that header convincingly. A little bit of a different setup to last weekend for Zwanswijk. He's gone back to the 3 in midfield, as we predicted in the pre-game. Balther alongside Saxon Hillier. I think there was a thought a couple of weeks ago, certainly, that got outrun through midfield a little bit with a couple of older heads in Joe Fox and Bilal Belkadi. I called Bilal an older head. He's certainly not that at just 24, but certainly Hillier and Balther are 2 who are able to get about the pitch. Players who cover a lot of kilometres. Hillier, funnily enough, looking through the stats before this game, has the most sliding tackles in the competition this season. I didn't even know they kept stats like that, but it's a nice little claim to have. You can't question his effort through the middle of the park. Don't need statistics to tell you that. Ben Coop back in the starting side today. Not his finest moment there, turning it over rather easily to James Bayliss. It's been like a new signing for Marconi. He was that at the start of the season from the Central Coast Mariners Academy, but spent a lot of time out with injury. Oh, and Connor Rose has stolen onto this one, and Vella had to track him all the way to make sure that Manly didn't strike an early blow to the bow of Marconi. Hilton was well off his line. Proved to be the correct decision, but had Rose got there and managed to take his touch more delicately around Vella than the Marconi keeper could have been in a bit of bother. As it is just a corner for the hosts. Starting as they have in so many games against the big sides this year. Curling that one is the Spaniard Baltha. Pure trying to flick it back over his head. Millgate was having none of that. And now it's the gorgeous left foot of Franco Maya. Hillier was all too aware of what he was going to try and do there. Blocked for the long ball, and Marconi will just get a settling throw deep in their own half. Long weekend of action coming your way in round 25 of the NPL New South Wales men. Some big fixtures as the race for finals and the premiership, which we've already mentioned. Rockdale fans will have their eyes keenly on this one, no doubt. Both they and Marconi chasing a first ever premiership over a full season of NPL New South Wales men's football. Good square ball, Rossello. Presley Ortiz ducking back inside, and well, he felt the contact from Milanaric, but it was minimal. Appeals for a penalty were half-hearted. They were rather more forceful. The challenge on by Pires on the much bigger James Temulkovski. It's been a physical little affair to start this one. Leah has not missed a game this season. Hasn't started everyone, but has featured in all 24 of Manly United's matches to this point. 25 counting tonight. See Kieran Paul going long over the top there. It's been great to see him getting a consistent run of football again. He's been so injury plagued over the last 2 seasons. Only remaining player now from Manly United's grand final winning team in 2017, wearing the captain's armband. He's been their driving force from right full back so far this season, leading a relatively young side. Certainly when Jesse Pires at just 24, partnering Alan Aganovic at the back is one of your most experienced players. It says a lot. Patrick Svanswijk's getting more and more improved performances out of them week on week and starting to get back towards a full complement of players. I mentioned that 3-month run that they went almost without a win through the middle of the season. That was without a lot of the players starring out there tonight for them. Nice turn from Costanzo. Got the better of Kieran Paul. Pures across to make the block. After a bright start, Manly now being pegged back in their own half by the favourites coming into the night, Marconi. Temulkovski, nice turn. Strike wasn't the worst and almost drew a little deflection out of Aganovic, who had the foresight to just pull his foot out of the way. Not risk what could have been a pretty disastrous deflection. Gorgeous ball over the top from Pires. The touch from Baltha was pretty good as well. As was the turn and the pass for Hillier. In fact, it's Rossello. Running onto this one, was just bundled off it by Milanaric. It's fallen for Hillier! Ferocious strike that just rose a bit too high over Hilton's crossbar. Don't need telling about the quality of Saxon Hillier. Patrick Svanswijk bringing him into the team as an 18-year-old last season. He's been almost ever present since. Marconi also aware of the threat he offers going forward, as well as the work he'll get through covering ground up and down the pitch. Brandon Vella's covered plenty of ground in his time in a Marconi kit. It's a smart bit of play to get his side going forward. Here's Daniel Baumann on the score sheet last weekend. Rather less impressive touch there, just turning it over to young Roccapella. One of these teenagers that's established himself in Patrick Svanswijk's first 11. Hillier diving towards it. Paul's header was into a bit of a dangerous area, really, and Tebelkowski turning again. This time tried to do the team thing, when the more advisable option might have been to shoot. Little grunt in frustration at himself. Marconi building nicely into this one. Not going to call it a sluggish start, but certainly Manly started the brighter of the two teams. They've wrestled back the momentum. One of the big things which Marconi fans are all too aware of is that they don't need a whole heap of possession to find the goals they need to win. Happy to rely on such a solid defence, the best in the competition. Mlinaric has been so impressive, the 22-year-old alongside Milgate and Windust, another youngster. 3 first-class centre-halves to rotate between for Peter Sekenis this season. Nice touch from Ortiz, who beat Mlinaric to the ball. Even Coop wasn't quick enough to keep it in, though. See why he's been selected to start for Patrick Svanswijk today. Wouldn't be too many to beat Ben Coop in a foot race over 50 metres across the competition. It's just generating that space for him to work in. Nice touch from Yuli for Bauman. 2 experienced heads anchoring Marconi's midfield again tonight. Maya will look to dart in on that left foot all night. It's another telling challenge, though, from Rocco Pellet, who's won the first couple of rounds in their individual bout on the far side of the pitch. Gorgeous ball out from K, one of the best distributors in the league from the back. Something more agricultural from James Hilton. Not quite as effective either, because Hillier somehow managed to get the better of Bowman in the air. Here's Connor Rose, the former Wanderer. Because his brother Lockie's still on the books down at the MacArthur Bulls in the A-League men's. That away in the nick of time did Levi K. Rossello's crossed to try and poke it forward. In fact, it was Rose. Ganovic and Pella nods it on. And Connor Rose has returned from an offside position there. A little bit of ill-discipline from Manly United as they try and get the ball going forward. Adjustment from Patrick Svanswijk's looked pretty effective in a tactical sense to this point. Marconi creating a clear-cut chance to this point. So we tick past the quarter of an hour mark here in the first half at Cromer Park, the opening game of round 25 in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. Triple slate for you tomorrow. Sutherland hosting Sydney FC. That's a big battle down the bottom. 4 teams locked on 21 points coming into the weekend. Bottom team at the end of the season going automatically down. The second bottom going into a relegation playoff with the second placed team in Football New South Wales League 1. Hills United part of that little battle as well. They're hosting Spirit FC, and St George City taking on the Western Sydney Wanderers. 2 of those chasing the 6th spot in the finals places. And then on Sunday, what a treat we've got for you there. Sydney United 58 versus Apia is the match of the round out at Adenza Park. 2 other 3 o'clock kickoffs. Wollongong Wolves taking on St George FC, and the Central Coast Mariners hosting Blacktown City up at Plume Park. And then the nightcap is a beauty. Sydney Olympic hosting Rockdale Illingdon. That age-old rivalry as Rockdale continue their chase for an historic premiership. Still the only couple of pieces of silverware, the COVID-affected premiership in 2020. And then New South Wales State League Championship all the way back in 1984. Marconi got a couple of grand finals at State League level. Of course, they're the 4-time champions of Australia as well, back in the NSL days, but never won a regular season premiership at New South Wales State League level. Ben Coop battling for it with Goalless on the near side, and it's the Manly United winger who wins out. Hillier showing awareness beyond his years. Paul Ortiz. This is looking nicer for the hosts. Now Presley Ortiz just darting out to the right and cutting back inside. He's looking for Coop. Millgate with a timely intervention. Lenarich hoisting it high up in the night sky. Paul and Costanzo battling under it. Temulkovsky getting involved. And how about the turn out of trouble from Dominic Costanzo? This is what he can offer. Just a touch too heavy against the very athletic Jesse Perez, who, as he so often is, able to sweep up. It's been a watchful opening 18 minutes or so from both teams. Well, they're taking too many risks. Saxon Hillier's stinging drive from about 25 yards is the closest either side have come to this point. Manly United will be buoyed by what they have been able to create to this point. Team that have struggled for goals all year. Worst attack in the competition, are looking rather lively in the early stages of this one. Well, Norwich there to clear the cross from Rose, but he'll have a second bite. Ooh, and he drew the high foot from Jasic. All was fair, said referee Sam Kelly. Yuli, he's got such a crafty right foot, and he's managed to bend that one and keep it in play for Temulkovsky. Pury's following him all the way onto the far side and knocking it over into the far post, the pub that is, which sits on the eastern side of Cromer Park. Pretty healthy crowd over there, as well as up in the Lucas Neal stand tonight. Ball which just travelled over the line before Brandon Vella could get his foot to it and send in the cross. Furthest forward we've seen him to this point. Marconi have been a team so far this season that have found more than the majority of their goals in the late stages of both halves. More than 50% of their goals across the season coming between minutes 30 and 45 and 75 and 90. Team that don't give up until the final whistle or the halftime whistle is blown. So Manly United will have to be attentive right till that point in this first half if they are to continue defending. Aganovic stooped and the ball was very close to his arm. Didn't strike it, said the referee. There's a controversial decision here a couple of years ago which went Marconi's way. Suspected handball on the line which would have grabbed Manly United an equaliser. Wasn't to be, or would have given them a chance for an equaliser from the penalty spot. And now Connor Rose has wisely elected to let that one go. So Presley Ortiz could take up the attack, and he's beaten Lenarich. Oh, and looked to square it rather than shoot himself. Could have had a goal on his Manly United debut there. Presley Ortiz, not to be. And now Manly have more defending to do, which Kieran Paul did adroitly. Nathan Millgate has been the figurehead on his return to the starting side tonight in the centre of Marconi's defence. It's Daniel Baumann, who's in fine form at the moment. Searching for Marko Jasic and was only a yard or two away from picking out his captain. Hilly has been very much the conductor for Manly in the early stages of this one. Linking up with Rossello, and Ortiz has been lively. In his first start for his new side, he gets the shot away, but not quite the purchase behind it. There's an encouragement growing amongst the fans who are enjoying what they're seeing. Game starting to open up around the 20-minute mark. Marconi not quite having it all their way at the minute. Another goal just to settle them. A lot of these sort of balls over the top. That's worked out beautifully for James Temulkovsky, who drew the challenge, stayed on his feet, and then found Jasic. firing back across the face of goal. Well, that's their best move of the match so far, Marconi. It was direct. We expect nothing less from them. Gorgeous ball over the top from Dom Costanzo. Beautifully weighted. So we await the opener here at Cromer. Tebelkovsky. Allowed to turn. They're just not dealing with James Tebelkovsky, particularly when he gets the ball with his back to goal at the moment. Manly United. It's Franco Maya. Hasn't featured too prominently to this point. He's got a little bit more space to operate in here, although Ortiz was right on his case, the two former St George City teammates. The pressure was enough to force the error from the pass. Two youngsters clashing there. Anton Mlinaric, still relatively young for a centre half, 22. Played 14 games at A-League level, even at this young age with Brisbane Roar. Tebelkovsky, such a star in the NPL in South Australia before making the move up here from Victoria. Costanzo for Bayliss. Knocked out by Ben Coop, who's had to do his fair share of defending in these early stages. Ortiz is waiting for his support now. Touch took him probably a little wider than he would have liked, but the attack's still alive, ducking inside and flying into the challenge with Yuli. Neither was backing out of that. This game is really starting to open up. Plenty of space through midfield for Bauman. Now Costanzo, who'd like to go at pace. That's exactly what he does. It gets the ball across, and Aganovich slices it over the crossbar. Hasn't looked particularly assured. Manly United's big number 19 in these early stages, but his defensive work's been effective enough. And a first corner from this near side for Marconi on the night. They've got plenty of bodies forward. Ball towards Millgates, who's always a threat from those set pieces, and he wasn't picked up. He'll have felt he should have done better there. Player with such a history of scoring with his head in big games too. Remember an FFA Cup tie when he was playing with RPL Leichhardt all those years ago. Couldn't repeat the trick there. It wasn't a dissimilar situation to that one. Nearly 10 years ago now. How time flies. Manly just trying to insert a measure of calm into this game. It's still become a little bit open and panicked. They wanted it under control. That wasn't particularly clever from Miguel Baltha, though. Costanzo had the strength to hold him off as well, and he drives into the area where Jesse Perez is there to meet him. Reliable as ever. Wearing the captain's armbands earlier in the season in Kieran Paul's absence. At just 24 years of age. Such are his leadership qualities. Not a centre-half by trade, but been used there most of this month now by Patrick Zvansvijk. Zach Svilagoy relegated to the bench after starting the season as Aganovich regular partner back there after his move from Bonnyrigg. He's there again tonight. So a pretty deep bench for a nice change for Patrick Zvansvijk with Peter Kakaris and Blake Bambashe and Bilal Belkadi all there, as well as Joe Fox, sorry. And a bit of uncharacteristic sloppiness from Levi K in playing out there. Just inviting a little more Marconi pressure. Jesic has it nicked off his toe by Rocco Pellet. Jesic, who's always had this long throw in his locker, still hoisting them in there at 34. And Millgate's the target, and he just bundled Rocco Pella off the ball. Perhaps showing some smarts there, the 19-year-old Manly left-back as well. He's getting his body in the way, and he was always favourite to win the ball. Millgate having to go through him to get anywhere near it, really. Still the wait goes on for our first goal, and I don't think Marconi, particularly in situations where Manly have had their defence set up, will be overly pleased with what they've created, or perhaps it's better to say what they haven't created to this point. It's not to say they've been conceding a flurry of chances down the other end, but that's not oft their problem. Having said that, their goal-scoring record is pretty fine as well this season. Creating chances down the other end hasn't really been a problem either. Took 2 red cards to get them their win last weekend against St George City. 2 centre-halves sent off as well. Jonathan Solomon, John Monaghan, Viker. Here's Franco Meyer into the area. That was his favoured left foot, but he was just stretching to connect with that ball, which meant he couldn't really get any purchase on it. How about the throw out from Levi K? Right on the money again for Ocello. Keep for Paul. This is what Manly United can do when they get in their strides. Just see it in flashes, probably not as often as their fans would like. Paul's header was clever. The square ball wasn't bad either. Ortiz with his back to goal. Trying to replicate Temilkovsky down the other end, but couldn't shrug off the attentions of Nathan Millgate. Daniel Baumann has just had all the space in the world through the middle of the park tonight. Temilkovsky's drifted out to the left in support. Face-to-face with Pires, not for the first time. And he steps past him this time. And a very good block by Paul, who retreated inside him. And a makeshift sweeper roll. Ball bounces back out for Temilkovsky. And Ben Coop was a little bit frustrated with all of that. Gives him a shrug and then a shrug of the shoulders, but he knew what was coming. The form of the referee's whistle, a striker's challenge. That's exactly what it was, and it gives Marconi another chance from a set piece here. Patrick Zvansvik, who's never shy of letting the officials know what he thinks of decisions, is deep in discussion with the 4th official tonight, as he has been for most of this first half. Quarter of an hour to play here in the first half on Football New South Wales YouTube page. Marconi and Manly United. Costanzo with a pretty poor ball by his standards. Didn't beat the first defender. Now Marconi in no rush either. Happy with the state of the game and trusting that the goal will come eventually. Coop certainly struck his arm, but it was down by his sides, and he was about half a yard away, so I don't think they were ever going to get a whistle there, Marconi. It's ended up all right for them anyway. Hilton picking it up in his own area. That was clever from Franco Meyer, just protecting the space. Knew Temilkovsky would be there as well, and just swung blind to hit the pass. Baumann over the top. Costanzo. Don't need to test his touch. It's always true. Ball nearly caught out Pires as well, who stretched to clear the ball. Costanzo will have a second bite. That's a better directed one towards Jesic. Aganovic rising highest there. And there's Marconi appeals for a free kick against Connor Rose, who skipped past Brandon Vella without any issue. He's got the pace to get away from Milinaric here, has he? Flicks it over the top, sensing his presence. Ortiz on his Manly United debut. Presley Ortiz shapes it towards Rose, almost trying to return the ball from whence it came, and that was a worrying moment for Marconi. And then Jesic just bundles over Rose on a sequence that won't best please Peter Sekenis. All made by Connor Rose's endeavour. Certainly he can have arguments about the foul in his own half, but you can't have any about his effort to get forward and get involved with the attack which he began. From Manly United complaints, they turn to Marconi's. And they've got some defending to do. Pretty silly challenge from Jesic in the end, with Rose not really going anywhere. So now it's the hosts. Chance for Baltha. It's a very dangerous ball. It's not been dealt with initially by Marconi. Costanzo showing his defensive instincts to clear the danger. James Bayliss, who came to the club as an attacker, has started at fullback in every one of his 4 appearances. Defending that one with aplomb. With the Central Coast Mariners to a League One Grand Final back in 2022. Oh, how's the touch from Costanzo? Gorgeous. Now he needs support in green. It's arriving in the form of Yuli and Bauman. Another one of these Marconi players with A-League Meds experience. Millgate hasn't had that, but has totted up so many appearances in this competition. He's seen it all. Maya interchanging passes with Vela. And now Jesic. I think Rose might have blocked that inadvertently, and looking for the free kick off Rocco Pellet. There was a discussion between Sam Kelly and his assistant Alessandro Lana on the near side, on the far side rather. Eventually they blow the free kick. Feels like as there is a goal in this first half, it'll come from a set piece. This time it's Maya's turn to deliver. Wall of bodies. Millgate's lurking at the back post. He goes the near though. Jesic running across the path of Levi K, which made the save more difficult than he looked. And so he just opted to push it behind for a corner. This has been the time in matches which Marconi have been so effective this season. Second best attacking team from set pieces in the comp as well, and they go short for Costanzo, who tried to be a little too cute, and he knows it. Was so close to goal in the end, he might have well have had a shot. Don't think that was the plan from the move, which was clearly off the training grounds. Manly with a little bit of a let-off, perhaps. Manly just struggling to get out of their own half in the last 10 minutes, and it's never more demonstrated than it was there. Pressure of Temulkovsky's looked so lively. It's a player full of confidence at the moment. Why wouldn't he be? Said he was aiming for 20 goals this season. He might fall just a bit short of that. He has had some time out with injury after such a quick start, but 13 goals in tonight, his 19th appearance for Marconi is not a bad return whatsoever. Lovely feat from Miguel Baltha, showing off his talents. Ball from Coop was searching for Kieran Paul. Needed the firm boots of Anton Lonaric to sweep across in cover. Rossello has really been able to get in the game, playing at the head of the midfield 3. In behind Presley Ortiz. It's Miguel Baltha. Looking for that little clip ball back to Rossello. Actually scored the opening goal of the entire season this year. The opening night here at St George FC. Against St George FC, rather. Scored a couple more since then. I remember a very important one down at Seymour Shore, where Manly were well and truly amongst teams fighting against relegation, in which they were woefully undermanned, but produced a fine display. Rossello and Fulder on the score sheet that day. Young Will Fulder, who was good in the 20s game today, which preceded this one, but isn't in the squad tonight. Temulkovsky looking to switch the angle quickly. He's done it beautifully. Maya, one-on-one with Pella, who didn't quite get to him. Still going Franco Maya. And now lays it for Jesic. Blocked by Pella, who recovered well. Still alive for Bauman. And now Temulkovsky trying to do something clever. Goes into the challenge with Paul, and eventually the Manly United captain gets it behind. It was a risky one from the Manly United captain. Had to get it inch perfect, and he did. More promising signs for the visitors, though, looking to break the back of their hosts before the break. Been a resolute defensive display from Manly United to this point. Numbers gathering in the middle once more for Dominic Costanzo's cross. Ganovic rising highest. Threats from set pieces in both boxes. Vela returns serve. Coop half away. Costanzo ambling onto it. And then exploding into the strike, which dribbled wide of Levi K's near post. Manly United have had trouble finding the back of the net. Their defence is an above average one for where they are in the table. Not played in too many high scoring games this season. That's a lovely touch from Baltha for Perez. Midfielder by trade, remember. Although didn't look it with that pass forward. Costanzo. Coop chasing back in cover. And might have just won his side the throw as well. He has. It gives Dom Costanzo a little bit of a reminder about who won out in that little encounter as well. He's working hard, Ben Coop. It looks fired up tonight. And Ortiz trying to chest it down for him. This was a little too engaged in that little spat still. It's a little bit of feeling creeping into this one as well. It's always nice for us, the neutrals. And Perez was dragging Temulkovsky off the ball there to get in position. So the free kick goes Marconi's way. Bauman threatening to take it quickly. And now referee Kelly will just say, we'll have it back here about 5 yards. Thank you. He's got the invisible spray with him tonight, the young referee as well. Or the disappearing spray, I should say. Invisible spray wouldn't be much use. So a two-man committee over it for Marconi. Bayless the left-footed option. Costanzo has been entrusted with most of these situations so far tonight. Bayless seems to just be making his way from it, unless he's double bluffing all of us. Two in the wall for Levi K, or Rossello and Baltha. Costanzo it is. And again, it's not his best effort. Hardly even got it off the ground. Fairly easy clearing for Connor Rose. Jesic for Liam Yulee. Did well to find Temulkovsky. Kept the ball under his spell. Returned it for Yulee. Good cross. Costanzo! Oh, in fact, it was Temulkovsky. It floated into the middle. It was an acrobatic effort, but it didn't keep the ball on target. Best chance of the first half for Marconi. Only really a half chance in reality. Would have been one of the goals of the year if he had managed to beat Levi K with his back to goal and a defender in his back, but wasn't to be. And so the wait goes on. Marconi, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, hardly the first team to be frustrated from right up the top of the table coming up to Cromer Park so far this season. Rose with Vela in his back. Looking to turn past him. He's done it nicely. Not for the first time in this first half. It's Rose. Oh, and it's beaten Hilton. It just didn't have a blue shirt to knock it home. Ortiz not able to get it back on goal, but trying to fashion something, and he's knocked it straight out of play. A goal kick. Marconi survive. Big chances up both ends in a matter of moments. An inch here or there, and we might not still be scoreless. So James Hilton's sheet is still clean. Marconi would have known coming here tonight that the task wouldn't be easy to break down their hosts, but perhaps not expecting quite as resolute resistance as they've met. It's one of the closest starting 11s Patrick Svanswijk's been able to put out so far this season with his full complement of fit players. Harry McCarthy's still on the sideline with a long-term injury. He's about the only one missing. Oh, Jesic diving towards that one ahead of Aganovic. No doubting the skipper's desire there. No doubting Bauman's desire through midfield either, but he was a little overzealous and concedes the free kick. Aganovic for Rose, who tried to be clever. Marconi know how to be patient at this ground. Last time they've visited, they got a 1-1 draw. Kyle Chimenti getting the goal that evening. And Harry McCarthy getting a very, very late equaliser. He won't be able to do that again tonight, but both those goals came in the final 20 minutes of the match in its entirety. It's been a couple of visits since Marconi have lost here. I'm hoping to keep that record intact tonight. Going about it the right way. They just need a finishing touch at the minute. Brandon Vella with the most space he's seen on the right all evening. Temelkovski, always full of creative thoughts, just lacking the execution to match there. Manly hit in transition. That's what they're looking to do. They've done it beautifully. Ortiz to Rossello and now Rose. It's 4 against 3 if they play it right, and Rose just belts it into Blenaric, who got his positioning spot on.
The full visual has indicated that there will be 1 minute of time added on.
As you just heard through the PA, it's a single minute. It's been an engaging first half without being an absolute worldie of a football match. Both teams have had their chances. Saxon Hillier driving just over the crossbar in the early stages. James Temelkovski with an acrobatic effort with about 5 minutes to go before the break. Manly United had a ball travel across the face of goal with no one to tap it into an empty net. Probably been conceding a couple more chances than they would fancy Marconi. Manly United have put in a pretty good effort so far this evening. It's been a Manly United team playing up to the level of their opposition as they have so many times this season. Pellet. Now there's some half-hearted appeals for a penalty. See Ortiz and Millgate clashing. Sam Kelly saves himself the decision and says, let's have half-time, thank you very much. Those few chances I mentioned, really all we had. Not really a meaningful save from either goalkeeper in the opening 45 minutes. Period of play in which both teams were seeing how they could unpick the other without giving away too much themselves. Opened up through the middle of the half, but no real meaningful chances for either. And at the break, as both teams head to their sheds in the opening game of round 25 in the NPL New South Wales men's. It's Manly United 0, Marconi Stallions 0.
and a team of locals, you can feel confident with your money being handled locally by Australia's fifth largest bank, the only one able to make that grassroots connection. So meet Cassie and the team at Indigo Bank Freshwater and find out how you can help the bank that supports you and supports your Manly United FC.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that we will be back here next week for NPL New South Wales Men's as your Manly United FC will be taking on the Sutherland Sharks. A big game that one there, so make sure you join us again next week. Manly United FC in NPL New South Wales Men's against the Sutherland Sharks.
Shelby Shop delivers a huge range of shelving direct to your door anywhere in Australia. Owned and operated by Goalless and family, it is a 100% Australian-owned company and can cater for all your shelving needs, whether for the home or office. Search, shop and purchase a huge range of European-made shelves, shelving and accessories online at www.shelvingshop.com.au or visit the shop and showroom at Unit 7, Number 7, Jubilee Avenue, Warringwood. Purchase direct. Contact Scott and his team on 997 6810.
corner, order in Carla Road. From Mazda has been fueling the motoring country for more than just over 30 years. And that car ready for you. More than just small to medium cars. From Mazda has a whole line of Utes, family cars, EVs, hybrids, and SUVs to fit whatever needs you have. So head down to Mazda will go online. Mazda accommodate you and find out why Manly United love a bit of zoom zoom.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that your Manly United Women's will be on the road this weekend. They'll be playing on Sunday at 3 o'clock at Nick Strider Jubilee Oval against the Sydney Olympics. So make sure you tune in to the game on NPL TV on YouTube for Manly United Women's and their game against the Sydney Olympics.
Or I've just been down here waiting for something.
Upstate Real Estate is your new local real estate. Over 100 years experience is in the Northern Metro. Combined with a wide range of knowledge and understanding with a local and personal touch, Upstate Real Estate delivers 5-star service with drive and cash from your property deserves. Featuring our very own Johnny Hall, Upstate has one goal for you to help you find yourself in a better place. So get Upstate Real Estate on 9971 9000 or visit www.upstate.com.au. Upstate Real Estate, proud partners of your Manly United FC.
Perfect timing for that now. Two long songs. That should lead us straight through. Well, yeah, I mean, the
Welcome back to Cromer Park. The second half about to get underway in this round 25 men's fixture. Scoreless at the break. Saxon Hillier's drive from long range. Half chance to James Tibulkovsky, which scraped over Levi K's crossbar. The closest either side came in a first half of half chances. Without a breakthrough, Marconi were slow coming out for the second half. A nice long chat from Peter Sekenis and Peter Papothes to their side needing all 3 points to stay in the premiership hunt. Otherwise, they leave open the possibility that Rockdale could wrap it all up next weekend. I don't want that to be the case. They'll need to find a goal and keep their clean sheet down the other end. So they've looked likely to do to this point. James Hilton's not come under too much pressure in his goal, but Marconi have had a couple of warning shots fired across their bow, particularly from Connor Rose, who's been lively up front. Presley Ortiz on debut tonight as the lone striker for Manly United. And the ever-present danger of Saxon Hillier through midfield, which Marconi have found more than a handful. Miguel Baltha starting to grow into this game as well. Franco Meyer will want more of the football than he saw in the first half, and he's going about getting it for himself. He's won his side an early free kick. Well, now Liam Yulee and Saxon Hillier resuming their little battle, which had begun right at the start of the second half. Sam Kelly having to play peacemaker, the referee. All a bit unnecessary from the former Western Sydney Wanderer. Former experienced Liam Yulee, 27-year-old. And Daniel Baumann have looked good through midfield. There's been some good passages of play from both teams. Just speaking to a couple of people around the ground at half-time, and it's been a fairly good watch for a 0-0 without too many clear-cut chances. There's been some good football played by both teams, just been able to cancel each other out through some good defence, which both have been able to do consistently this season. Connor Rose striding away down the left. We saw him do that a few times in the first half. Another former Wanderer. Part of their academy set up for a couple of seasons. Careers for Presley Ortiz. On debut for Manly United up front tonight. Forward is Kieran Paul, the captain, cleared by his opposite number, Nathan Milgate. Clever little back heel from the Spaniard Baltha. Milgate resumes that, and Perez able to be strong enough to win over the much taller Temulkovsky, and his searching ball for Presley Ortiz wasn't too bad. Ortiz made something of it, and then Vella managed to get his boot to ball, but Marconi struggling to get out of their own half early in the second half. Baltha again for Rossello, and Ortiz. It's all very intricate from Manly as it got a final touch. Coop looking to flick it over the top, and when the ball came back to him, he couldn't quite make contact. Got to be careful they don't get caught on the break here, though. It's been the pattern of play. It's been not all fire and brimstone, but certainly played to a good level of pace and intensity. Technical quality's been there. All we're really missing is a goal. Been a fairly clean game. Sam Kelly's managed to keep his cards in his pocket to this point. Probably Peter Sekenis will be looking for some desire from his players, knowing the importance of this game as they continue to chase the premiership. Win in midweek over Rockdale Illingdon 9-0. I thought that might be the turning point in the title race. It's proved not to be that. Rockdale not dropped a point since then. Marconi dropping a point the very next weekend to the lowly Sutherland Sharks. Swung the pendulum right back in Rockdale's favour. Yulee's ball for Temulkovsky. And Costanzo's forward on the left. Can he keep the ball in play? He's done so. Now face-to-face with Perez. We saw this a few times in the first half. His cross is lacking the necessary direction. A couple of players in green striding to join him in the middle. Oh, and Alen Ganovic, who's not had his finest night playing up from the back. Usually one of the more technically adept defenders in the league. He hasn't shown it this evening. He's looked a bit nervy on the football. I'm not sure whether that's the presence of Temulkovsky, who's renowned for his ability to put pressure on opposition backlines without the ball. Lenaric is finding himself under some pressure from Ben Coop and managed to play out of that. Goalless for Costanzo, who's growing in influence. Ball is perfect for Jesic. Ganovic just got there in the nick of time. Myers kept the attack alive, though, searching for Temelkovski, who was lining up the spectacular Perez's intervention. Means a Marconi corner, but that's better than the start they had to the second half, where they were very much on the back foot. Swung both ways in the opening 5 minutes of their second half as this game. Haven't seen too much movement from either bench. The Manly United substitutes are now making their way over. When we get a stoppage in play, I'll bring you the options that Patrick Zwanswijk has available to him tonight. In the meantime, Costanzo, who has really not delivered the best from his set pieces tonight, finds Connor Rose at the front post, not for the first time. That's a better little dink for Goalless. Kieran Paul has marshalled his troops at the back very nicely and has led them defensively. Yuli is he has such a broad range of passing, rather underhit that ball. Hilly is just turning away from trouble, like it's second nature, which it seems to be to him. Coop for Rosello. Didn't quite catch it. And Nathan Milgate, as Ganovic did in a similar situation in the first half, just pulling his foot away to make sure there was no deflection and no corner conceded. Wonder of the situation coming into the game tonight. Marconi trailing Rockdale by 9 points on the Premiership table. It'll be 5 games for both teams to go after this weekend. All 3 points vital. Manly United sitting pretty securely in mid-table. 10th place coming into tonight. 8 points clear of that little relegation scrap with plenty of teams between them and the bottom 2. Only really need a point this evening, the hosts, if that's what they set out to get. Good clearing header from Perez. Baltha. After the race for finals, really, as well. Be a big ask at 8 points to try and catch St George City. Now, that was a crude challenge from Costanzo. He lost his footing. Paul bounced straight back to his feet. Bauman lets fly. It was not as clean as the strike which found the back of the net last weekend. Far from it. So we continue to see strikes from long range and real half opportunities. It's looking like a game that's going to take a moment of magic or an individual error to break it open. Now, Peter Kikeris is a man who can provide that moment of magic for Manly United, and he's been called over by one of the Manly United assistants. So, expecting to see him as the first change. Neither side have made a substitution to this point. Anton Mlinaric has given away the free kick for jumping over the back of Presley Ortiz. It says a lot. Manly United just taking their time over the free kick. Paul's made a run forward, though, and he's been picked out by Perez. Got the better of Goalless. It's towards Ortiz. Not really clear either. It's Rosello. A great piece of defending from Maya, who was a wing-back for most of his St George City career. Well, he came into this competition as and showing us his defensive instincts there. But it's Manly United have had the impetus in the early stages of this second half. Rose has been impressive again tonight. Rocco Pella, the furthest forward we've seen. Both going in with a high foot. Or high foot, rather. Milgate and Pella. And Pella got there first. So Milgate, despite being the man who went to ground, is the one who draws the ire of the referee as well. Free kick in a very dangerous position for the hosts. Had a perfect view of that, did the referee Sam Kelly. Pella winning the foot race, the younger legs getting that. Such an industrious fullback, this Rocco Pella. He's good size too. He's not one of those 19-year-olds who comes up and you go, well, he might be growing into his body over the next couple of years. He's a sizey young man. So a two-man committee over this for Manly United. Baltha's the left-footed option, but it's Rosello who strikes it in, and it's one from the training ground. Rose was expecting it to be fired into him at the nearest post. Couldn't quite steer it on target. So another one of those half chances go begging. So we mentioned Peter Kikeris being ready, and Stefano Rossello's ball in is going to be his last action of the night. And no, it's Ben Coop. It's been pulled off the right. So it's a like-for-like change. Kikeris will start over there as well. In fact, it looks as though Connor Rose is going to shift over to the right. Ben Coop's still been battling hamstring problems over the last couple of weeks, but hasn't really been able to get himself involved in this game quite as he would have liked, more in a defensive sense than an attacking one this evening. Nice touch from Ortiz. Rossello's growing into this game, and the flag goes up from Alessandro Lana on the far side. Connor Rose must have just been a fraction off. Taken short by Marconi. Need to swing the pendulum back in their favour. They're the ones who need all 3 points tonight. Ilya draws another free kick. Marconi, the most fouled team in the competition this season, but given away a few of their own at the start of this second half. Kikeris' first touch is a net win. Side getting the throw just over halfway. Alex Molchanoff with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube page this evening. The opening game of round 25 in the NPL New South Wales men's. Chances so far really only to Saxon Hillier from long range and James Timulkovsky. There could be another one here. Millgate's positioned himself well enough to beat Rossello to the football. Now here's Bauman. So impressive. Was on the score sheet, as I mentioned a couple of times, is signing from Kavala over in the Mediterranean. Ward Peller's struggled to deal with that, and Meyer felt that he'd got front position, but shoulder to shoulder was the decision, and Meyer thumps the turf in frustration. There's a few choice words for the referee as well. He's got to be careful he doesn't find himself in the book. It's very close to getting his second suspension of the season, Franco Meyer, for totting up the bookings. That's a good ball from Peter Kikeris, found Ortiz, and now there's space for Connor Rose. There's been a few of them over the course of the match, players getting into promising positions and just not really being able to test the goalkeepers with anything meaningful. Simple save at the end for Hilton. Dressed all in bright pink tonight, we won't lose him. The star of the show if Marconi can keep another clean sheet, but I need someone to find a goal down the other end as we approach the hour mark. The signs of frustration starting to come from the bench. It's been pretty placid, Peter Sekenis, tonight, which is not always the case. Six cup finals coming home for Marconi, and even that might not be enough, but anything less than that, and I felt that they might have done more to push Rockdale all the way to the end. Still plenty of time to find the winner here. Forward is Costanzo, searching for his opposite winger. Pella has done so well in marshalling Franco Meyer tonight, and he wins another defensive header. Meyer does well enough to watch the ball all the way out of play. He and Pella now sharing words. He's cutting a frustrated figure. Marconi's right winger. Can he harness some of that into this cross? One of the best teams in the competition from attacking set pieces. That's a decent ball, and Levi K was being put under pressure from Marko Jesic. And now he's asking the question as to how he wasn't awarded a free kick. Referees generally pretty keen to protect goalkeepers in those sorts of situations now. Jesic's claim is just protecting his space. The ball's gone behind, so it's another... Oh, no, it's the long throw. Of course it is. That's why Marco's making his way over. Using every inch to launch it in towards Millgate. Manly very aware of what the plan was about to be. And it's a disbelieving group of Marconi players who certainly disagree with the decision of goal kick. Made that very clear. Manly United might have just got away with one there. Marconi just... Oh, that's an awful back pass out of the back from Levi K. Temelkovski not punished initially. Maya! And Manly United with a big, big let-off. Franco Maya's night of frustration continues. Could tell he put a fair bit of it behind that strike. It was struck with some venom. Whiskers away from breaking the deadlock. Closest either side have been to this point. Right on the hour mark. And that decision has always put the fire in the bellies of Marconi's, though they needed it. Mentioned early in this game that certainly presented the proverbial banana skin for Marconi tonight. Manly proving it as much, and that missed chance from Franco Maya might go down as a very big moment in this 2024 season. Costanzo for Temelkovski. He's got such gorgeous touch in those situations. He's held off Aganovic as well, and eventually goes to ground and draws the referee's whistle. Looks as though the referee was not sure whether it was a handball or actually dragging Temelkovski down. Temper's starting to flare out there. Aganovic, who's not the most fiery of characters, but certainly was frustrated by that decision. It's been an evening of frustration for him as well this evening. So another chance presented. Manly inviting pressure onto themselves. They've got plenty of match winners in this team, Marconi. Plenty who will fancy their chances standing over this free kick. Not least the former Newcastle Jet and Marconi legend, Marko Jesic. Franco Maya's struck a number of solid free kicks this season. He's got 7 goals across his 24 appearances for the number 7. Will it be he or the 10? Jesic makes the first move and strikes it! It could be a big, big goal, a captain's strike from Marko Jesic. Just as Marconi were looking for a moment of inspiration, their captain provides it. A very, very important goal for the visitors. It took just over an hour, but finally the breakthrough comes. Cheers for those from Bosley Park. Less so for those from Rockdale. And a stunned silence falls over Cromer Park. Could only admire the moment of brilliance that they just witnessed. Not really sure what Dom Costanzo was doing there, but has delayed the restart somewhat. Manly United's bench is picking fights for the sake of it, by the looks of things. And Costanzo is ever happy to play antagonist, booting the ball into the Manly United bench, or towards it anyway. So Marconi have their goal, and so the equation becomes, can Manly United break them down? They did here a year ago. Harry McCarthy got a stoppage time equaliser to steal a point. Marconi sitting as the only top 6 team to take all 3 points from this ground this season. If they are able to hang on, they're going to come under quite a bit of attention as it draws on. Manly have played some nice stuff tonight. They're certainly not out of it, and they're showing it off here. Ortiz, Millgate stuck out a leg. Manly's new signing went over it, and it looks as though Marconi's centre-half is going to be the first name in the referee's notebook tonight. This game is coming to life. A 4th of the season for Nathan Millgate. Into a red card he got earlier in the year as well. And so there's a line of bodies in front of Manly United's goal here. Could be as many as 6 in this wall for James Hilton. It is, well, it's more than a wall, it's a fortress that he's setting up in front of him. We'll do well to see the ball as it struck. Here, all but 3 of the Marconi sides are in this, and it's not a wall. It is genuinely a fortress that James Hilton has got set up in front of him. There's 6 on the left, 2 on the right, inviting Kikaris to strike it right through it. He and Balther over the football. What a strange setup. And Hilton, well, he was helped by it in the end because he could see where the ball was coming, and he dived away to his left to tip it around the post. Oh, and a poor touch from Jesse Perez, the most uncharacteristic of errors. Temilkovsky striding away. In fact, it was Kieran Paul who turned it over, and he recovered his own error, the Manly captain. Kept the ball in play as well. What an impressive touch that was. Perez has kept it in as well. Marconi wanting the decision that never came. They've got the football in return, though. And Jesic stepping offside. Manly United seems fairly convinced of that the whole way. And this game has been flowing along at a nice tempo all night. It really has come to life, though, in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Capitalised by that wonderful strike from the free kick by Marko Jesic. Scored so many important goals for Marconi down the years. He can add another to that list tonight. He's now their leading scorer for the season in the league with 14. 1 ahead of his strike partner, James Temilkovsky. He's put in a fine performance of his own tonight. A lot of work without a lot of reward for a lot of the game. Paul playing it back to his goalkeeper. K just forced to clear his lines. Managed to do that and keep the ball in play. And in fact, win a throw for Manly United further up the pitch. It was all just turning the wrong direction for a period of about 15 minutes or so for Marconi at the start of this second half. They managed to wrangle it back. A team full of terrific footballers, but strong characters as well. You'd expect nothing less. They could close the gap to 6. Going into Rockdale's critical clash with their big rivals Olympic on Sunday. It's not an easy run home for Rockdale either, so Marconi know that hope is still well and truly alive for them. That's Manly United who are now looking to their bench. Still just the one change made. Peter Kikaris on for Ben Coop, who started the night. Presley Ortiz has made something of this. Got his head to the initial ball, knocked it over Mlinaric, and now has found Kikaris. Hillier joining in the attack. He can be the catalyst for them. Kikaris. It's really the leader for them in that period where they were missing so many of their experienced stars. Got a couple of critical goals. Bilal Belkadi is being readied now by Patrick Zwanswijk. Ball goes ball forwards. Yuli ducking forward. Costanzo managing to keep it in play. Flicking it over the top was Yuli. He's not had his finest night in terms of distributing further upfield. Might just be a note in the postscript at the end of it all. Marconi having this lead. Ben Coop returning in a full tracksuit. He's had an early shower. Former Sydney FC Academy product. Those enjoying a cool beverage at the far post, just helping it, getting that ball back to their captain, Kieran Paul. And Temilkovsky's got the better of Perez again. Aganovic, the only man back. And so James Temilkovsky, will he go himself? He sits down Aganovic. Can't beat K. Stood up brilliantly, the Manly United goalkeeper. And stops Marconi from putting the cherry on top of the performance tonight. And now Manly with a chance to make the change. Well, he knows what a big opportunity that was to kill the game off, James Temilkovsky. And an interesting change for Patrick Zwanswijk. Rossello, the more attacking of the two players that are being swapped over here. Bilal Belkadi is a player who can drive forward, but is more known for his work in screening the back line. So I think Miguel Baltha will move into a more attacking position with Belkadi sitting alongside Hillier in one of the two screening positions. Oh, and that puts some pressure on Aganovic. Did the back pass. Franco Meyer could kill it off. K plays hero again. He's got his cape on this evening. Super stuff from Manly United's number one, who denies two one-on-ones in a matter of moments. And Meyer, well, he almost looks beaten. His side still have the leads, but he's had two big opportunities in this second half. The Marconi winger. And he's been so assured in front of goal this season. His best ever return in the NPL New South Wales this season. He's headed his hand still as he goes over to take the corner. Well, Marconi have had more than enough chances to win this game in the last 15 minutes alone. Meyer goes deep, too deep for Millgate. He's in a little wrestling match. Ganovic certainly had hold of him for a short period there. Sam Kelly was keeping a watchful eye on all of that. So the temptation for us up here is to look ahead to what's... Oh, now, Marko Jesic, you would have just seen in the backdrop there as they played out, really got his foot stuck in the turf, so he's limping back towards halfway. We'll keep an eye on that. Hasn't gone to ground for the moment. Might just keep trying to run it off. Hopefully just a little roll of the ankle there. Goalless, who's been dogged in his defence, but concedes the throw here. It's coming together between Yuli and Rose. Incidents are plenty at the moment as Manly chase an equaliser. Perez swinging towards Kikeris. Millgate was never pulling out of that, but had a bit too much distance to cover. And Norwich playing as the sweeping defender. In fact, it was Vella. Millgate coming into a tough challenge with Roccapella. The youngster staying on his feet, but it's Millgate who's won the throw. I mentioned that Rockdale's run home is not the easiest. Well, Sydney United 58. Travelling to Marconi in that big derby clash next weekend. Oh, there was appeals from a Manly United perspective as to... Oh, they weren't given the free kick. Tembukovsky certainly did look late coming across. I'm not sure how much contact there was there. Back to that point on Marconi's upcoming fixture. So Sydney United 58 at home at Marconi Stadium next Saturday night. Lucky enough to call the return fixture of that one. It's not a happy memory for Marconi fans. They led 2-0 at Adenza Park that day and were pegged back. Carlos de Oliveira getting such a late dramatic winner. It's one of a few points that Marconi have dropped late in fixtures this season. Dropped 7 points in the final 15 minutes of games this year. Hoping that it's not a tally that's added to tonight, including two turnarounds, including that Sydney United game where they actually led going into the 75th minute and ended up losing the game. Number of heavy challenges going in. Sam Kelly wanted to play advantage. It didn't really accrue, but Marconi had played it forward far enough. So we go on. It's good watching for us as neutrals. Marconi fans might have more complaints about what's going on there. And now the yellow card goes to Bilal Belkadi, I believe. The Manly United players picked out the booking. It seemed to be all the Marconi players who were having words with referee Sam Kelly, but it's Belkadi who's found himself in the referee's notebook. Might surprise a few close observers of the NPL New South Wales this season. That's only Bilal's third yellow card of the year. Has been sent off once as well. And all this, although not looking particularly aesthetically pleasing, is all rolling in the way that Marconi needed it to, which is just towards full-time with as minimal fuss as possible. And by fuss we mean Manly United chances, which haven't really accrued since the goal. Marconi have looked more likely to go 2 or 3-0 up than Manly have to find an equaliser, or have found an equaliser, I should say. Yuli looking for something more measured. It certainly drew something athletic out of Rocco Pella, but he was up to the task. The pass forward was rather lacking, though, and Myers striding towards goal again. This time he plays in Brandon Vella, who's overlapping, and his cross is off the crossbar of Levi K. Not by design, I don't think, but certainly a heart-in-mouth moment for Manly United fans again, but they're buoyed by this. Peter Sekenis is asking for his team to slow the game somewhat. Now, Myers gone to ground, claiming an arm struck him from Kakaris. Play on for the moment. Franco Myers still down on the near side, so Marconi down to 10 for the moment. Timely intervention from Anton Mlinaric, one of the most talented defenders in this competition. And Myers back up. Rejoined the attack in a timely manner and been picked out, but he didn't time his run. And he could see the entire way across the line there, so there was really no need to have stepped offside in the first place. Just got to be careful he keeps his head here. He's not made his run back. Marconi need all hands on deck as this ball's speared into their area. Ortiz was chasing it. Vella hoists it away. Hillier. Now Marconi are readying their first substitution of the night. Paul for Manly United. Rose, who's looked the most likely for them this evening, gets another shot away, but it's another one off target on his less favoured left foot. And it's an interesting one. It's going to be Yuki Kitano, who's the Japanese signing at the start of the year. He's only recently been fit enough to get onto the pitch. It's been timely for them, though. It's a player who this game suits, and perhaps Sekin is sensing that Myers going towards losing his head. Opts to keep him safe from himself, I think, more than anything. A couple of big chances for the winger to have sealed all 3 points. It's down to the former Japanese youth international now to try and play that role. He looks as though he's going just in behind Jesic and Temolkovski. Try and play the release. Balthur's never short on a trick, and it's worked out all right for Manly here. Ortiz. Still lots of green shirts around. Has a vision to pick out Rose. Connor Rose for Manly United. Firing wildly away again, though. James Bayliss receiving the congratulations from his namesake, James Hilton. Patrick Svansvik not content. Why would he be? Going to be a chance for Blake Bambochet. Make his way on. He spent some time over in the lower leagues in England over the past couple of seasons. Joe Fox is going to bring an experienced head to the situation as well. Zach Svilagoy, who's a big body and might almost be being thrown on just as an auxiliary centre forward as Manly chase this game. Aganovic read that better than Temolkovski. Bauman's touch with some appeals for a throw from Marconi. They weren't from Daniel Bauman. So the triple change. Saxon Hillier has got through a lot of work through the middle of the park. Joe Fox will take his place. Connor Rose's night is over. Plenty of shots. Not able to find the back of the net for a second straight week. Blake Bambochet will take his spot on the right of the attack, and Rocco Pella withdrawn. I wonder if that's for a similar situation to the reason that Franco Maio was taken off on the Marconi side of things. Man of Italian heritage playing against a club of Italian heritage tonight. He's put in a fine performance. Costanzo looking to seal the game here. Rolls Paul, who did brilliantly to recover. Managed to block the strike. Marconi have a corner. Ball down the right end for them. Not so for Manly United, with just over 10 minutes to play here. It's been an all-action second half, particularly since the goal from Marko Jesic just after the hour mark. His free kick, all that separates the sides. That's a better ball from Costanza. At least gave some players the chance to attack it this time. Greenhead not able to get onto it, but Manly forced to clear and concede the throw, which allows Marconi just to eat some more clock. Precious seconds ticking away towards victory for the visitors. Jesic hoists it high. Millgate double teamed and once again doesn't get the decision he's looking for in terms of a corner. K's been happy to trust his players playing out. That's led to a couple of hard-in-half moments, but it works out nicely this time. Belcardi showing a cool head and strong execution with his pass. Gets it back off Blake Bambochet. Pires, who's moved to the left with that little defensive reshuffle. Belcardi again. Pires measuring it for Baltha, who was there. And the hands were down by the sides of Millgate's body, but it didn't strike them. Fox, Paul getting forward, and now there's a chance for Marconi to counter. I think this is going to be the pattern in the last 10 minutes or so. Costanzo loves these situations. And he's wise enough just to keep the football for now. How about that from Dom Costanzo? That's a sign of his growth as a footballer over the past couple of seasons. And I tell you what, James Hilton's done him a favour by putting it right on his foot. And Tebelkovski's timed his run. He's in behind the defence. James Tebelkovski again. Holds it up. Eventually, Jesic, least favoured left foot. And really didn't strike it with any sort of venom. Much in contrast to his goal which separates the sides. Bambochet caught the wrong side of Bayliss. Tugging him back all the way. Tebelkovski trying to keep the ball in play and maybe fashion a corner. And he's done exactly that. Svilagui forced to come across and cover. And it's down the wrong end for the hosts. Very much down the right end for Marconi, with 7.5 minutes of regular time left to play. Costanzo had half a thought about going short. Tebelkovski's got through so much work tonight. It's been a superb performance, and for a striker, he'd love a goal to cap it off, but even if he doesn't get one, it's been one of the best for Marconi out there tonight. Free header for Catano. Drifted into an unmarked area. Just couldn't get the purchase he was looking for. So another defensive change for Peter Sekenes and Papotes. George Daniel has been such a terrific signing for them. Spent most of the season as their first choice left back before the return of James Bayliss is going to be brought on for Costanzo. The antagonist certainly for the Manly United fans again tonight, but showing the good form that he's been able to generate over the last couple of months. He looks back to his best. Might fall short of producing a premiership, but certainly Marconi going to be a danger for silverware in the final series, which they're very close to being locked in for now. In fact, these 3 points will confirm their spot in the final series this season. Not be able to be caught, but they'll be hoping to finish in those top two positions, make sure they have a home final in the second week of the finals. New system being implemented in the NPL New South Wales men's. It's the A-League men's equivalent. Top six going into the final series, first two getting the week off and then having the home final, which acts as the qualifier for the grand final. All one-off games. Marconi will be featuring if they hold on here. Lovely challenge from Maganovic. Probably his best moment of the night, really. What hasn't been his best. Baltha not able to pick out the willing run of Blake Bambochet. Mlinaric happy to just hoist it down the other end. Gitano is behind in the foot race, and Sviligoi happy to just see it out. Manly got to produce something they haven't all night, really now. A clear-cut opportunity on goal. Marconi have earned their reputation as the best defensive side in the competition. Nothing that has occurred tonight will change too many opinions on that. Rather aimless ball forward from Sviligoi. Just eats a couple more precious seconds off the clock. Not a lot of big meaning for Manly United tonight. They're pretty secure in mid-table. They're going to be aware of the teams below them. A run of games that include Sutherland at home, who've been a bit of a bogey team for them over the past decade or so. Ortiz did manage to win away at Seymour Shaw this season, though. First time in a long time. Paul. There are a couple scrapping for it, but the work of George Daniel back there was enough. And Marconi will take every second they're allowed over this goal kick. Run home for Marconi. I mentioned that home game against Sydney United, 58 next weekend. Then they get St George FC, Hills United away, Blacktown at home, and Wanderers at home. So a nice little glut of fixtures at Marconi Stadium for them in the run-in. They're going to keep the pressure on Rockdale with this result tonight. You have to go to Jubilee Stadium against Sydney Olympic on Sunday afternoon and make sure that they get all 3 points as well, to maintain that 9-point buffer that they've built up. It'll be cut to 6 after the full-time whistle here, as long as Manly don't steal a surprise late. Bambochet with George Daniel in his back. Just too dogged, George Daniel. Appeals from the Manly bench go unheeded. Daniel can just stride forward, interchanging passes with Goalless, and now Temilkovsky again. He's had so many touches and he fires away rather wildly. It's been a high-quality game of football at the end of the day. There's been plenty of good technical stuff and some tidy stuff from Manly in build-up. Just not been able to find the killer pass and the timely touch to get in behind the solid partnership of Milgate and Mlinaric. Ably assisted by Goalless and Vella either side of them. James Hilton has been well protected. Mlinaric dinkied over the top. Belcardi flying into the challenge, as is his way, and the referee had to stop play because Temilkovsky had gone down clutching his head. It's to Manly's displeasure, but he had no choice, the referee. Words of frustration as the stand slowly starts to empty here. As for Manly, not the toughest of run homes, just to say that. I think Sutherland's here next week. The Western Sydney Wanderers, who've really fallen out of form since starting the season so brightly and losing quite a few of their players with A-League men's experience. St George City at home here in a couple of weeks' time, and then United away and Wolves away. I guess that's not the easiest finish to the season, but I think Manly will be well and truly safe by then. Taking time over the well-being of James Temilkovsky, who was caught up in that little clash with Bilal Belcardi. Another clean sheet brewing for the best defence in the competition. It will be their 10th, unless Manly can find a late equaliser as they did in the return fixture. Roccapello got it, and it proved to only be a consolation. Not out there. There'll be a little bit more time than we saw added on in the end of the first half. A couple of stoppages in the second, as well as the goal. Manly still have a glimmer of hope here. Perez. Cardi. There's the signal, 4 minutes. Aganovic. Even that's displeased the Manly bench. Millgate says anywhere but here. Temelkovski's still full of running. Svilagoi forced to head back to his goalkeeper. Aganovic. Not a stranger to a late goal himself, but a bit too deep in the pitch to probably find himself one tonight. And Yuli clever enough to get his body in the way and win the free kick off a frustrated Jesse Perez. And Gonzalo Vaya has found himself booked. He's been the most vocal of the Manly bench tonight. The referees have run out of patience. Levi K's got to be careful. He's making his thoughts about the time that Marconi are taking over the free kick well known. Not quite the clean sheet he would have been looking for tonight, Levi K, but some stunning saves in the second half nonetheless. Well, fellas seem to just lose that in the lights. Is there one last bite of the cherry here for Manly? Ortiz has been good without a goal. Kikaris. Well, he can't go through Anton Mlinaric. He's lucky that the ball deflected back to him. Perez, that's a well-directed ball. Not really dealt with by Marconi. Not the strongest effort from Kieran Paul. Not the strongest clearance from George Daniel. Paul again. Trying to match Jesic's effort, which separates the sides. He couldn't beat James Hilton safely in behind it. Time almost out for the hosts. And Marconi very close to becoming the first top six side to leave Cromer Park with all 3 points this season. All they've got to do really is keep it in the corner, which is exactly what Yuki Kitano does now. When he spins away from a couple and just pokes the ball out of play, that'll do. Sekenis driving his team on. He knows how important holding on here is. Loudest he's been all night. Trying to draw the last little bit of energy reserves out of his players. Nice long turnaround for them before the Saturday fixture against Sydney United 58 next weekend. Mlinaric sweeps it clear. Aganovic has his hands on his head almost in resignation. Still a minute of the 4 allotted to play. Svilagoi. Kikaris. It's been good since coming on. But as with everyone on Manly today, it's all been a little bit desperate, as was that strike through a forest of green bodies. Hilton hoofs it towards no one in particular. He's not worried about hitting targets at the moment, just getting as much distance as he can. Games tomorrow, will remind you, just before full time here. Sutherland taking on Sydney FC in the early kick-off at 4:30. Hills United hosting Spirit FC at 7 o'clock, and St George City taking on the Western Sydney Wanderers at 7:15, and a big battle for the finals places. Temelkovski. Kitano. Marconi have it down the right end. Bayless. Pursued again, backed into that corner. Had it nicked off him by Svilagoi. We're into a 5th minute of stoppage time. And Kitano's happy to just boot it clear. That might be that. Sam Kelly has a check of his watch. And the Marconi Stallions continue their good record at Cromer Park. Another desperate display where they huffed and puffed and eventually blew down the brick wall in front of Levi K's net. He made a fine effort of it tonight, but it wasn't enough. Marko Jesic with a moment of magic from the free kick, bending it over the Manly United wall and into the back of the net to become the first top 6 side to claim all 3 points from Cromer this season. They close the gap to 6 for now. Rockdale go against Sydney Olympic at 5 o'clock on Sunday. It's been a pleasure to bring this game to you on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Alex Molchanoff signing off with a final score at Cromer Park. Manly United 0, Marconi Stallions 1.